Today I'm going to focus on Pan Global's flagship project, the Escacena project, where we have a new copper, tin, silver discovery. It's a volcanogenic massive sulfide or VMS type deposit. We're in the fortunate position, I think, we're one of the few companies with a new copper discovery that has good potential to be in production this decade. There aren't many of those around. Add to that, we're in a stable, mining-friendly jurisdiction, and we have lots of upside at this target, still growing, and we have plenty of potential to make additional discoveries in the property. We have a very experienced management team and board. We can take the project all the way through to development, and we also have the experience there that should we become a target to manage that as well. I'm of the belief that copper prices are going to accelerate at some point, and very strongly. I think they have to if the world's going to meet the demand for copper that comes with the energy transition. So we're very well placed for that. Having a copper project in Europe which is one of the fastest adopters of electricity, electrification, etc., and having something that could benefit from this accelerated copper price period. So as Joe said, we're at the eastern end of a famous mineral belt called the Iberian Pyrite Belt. It's probably the most prolific volcanogenic massive sulfide district in the world. There are 7 big operating mines there today with operators like Lundin, First Quantum, Sandfire and others. Our project's at the far eastern end of that. Within about a 20-kilometre radius of our project, there are 2 operating mines and a new development project. Within a 50-kilometre radius, there are 5 operating mines. Freeport has a smelter about 70 kilometres to the southwest of us. So, this has got excellent infrastructure, mining-friendly location. Just zooming in our project, this is the yellow outline here, about 5,700 hectares. Our discovery called Laramana is in the south, and we have a new discovery called Pinata Honda about 3 kilometres to the north. But this just shows the proximity of some of the other mines and developments in the area. About 20 kilometres to the northwest, Atalaya are mining at the site of the world's biggest VMS deposit, where the Rio Tinto company began. They're mining, they use about a 0.15% copper cutoff. The reserve grades are about 0.39%. So that provides a good benchmark for us as to what's achievable in this district. Right next door to us are 2 old open pit mines that were previously operated by Boliden. Grupo Mexico are looking to recommence mining there and go underground beneath the Los Frailes deposit. And then about 12 kilometres to the east of us, First Quantum have the Las Cruces mine. That was one of the highest grade open pit copper mines in the world. So we're within trucking distance or even conveyor belt distance of some of these other operations. This is a gravity anomaly map. We are target rich. We have lots of opportunities to make additional discoveries in this area. So gravity is an exploration tool that's very effective in this area. The Los Frailes deposit that I mentioned before, off on the far right of this slide, the Las Cruces deposit, Neves Corvo, a giant VMS deposit, all found by drilling gravity anomalies. And our discovery, the Laramana anomaly here, was testing that gravity anomaly. We're currently drilling the western half of this target right now. We also have a new discovery, I think, where we're just drilling at the eastern end of this big gravity anomaly here called Pinata Honda. But we have many other targets that we haven't tested yet. So just zooming in on our Laramana discovery, we have about 170 drill holes into this today. We just put out some news earlier this week. We've just extended the deposit by about another 150 metres, giving us a total strike length of about 1.35 kilometres. The mineralisation comes to surface in the south, dips very moderately to the north, about 35 to 40 degrees, very well suited to open pit mining. It's very continuous, very predictable, very simple. It's not folded or faulted or anything like that, and it is growing. We're about halfway through a 25-hole program at the moment. We just reported the first 6 of those holes, showing the mineralisation is continuing, and we have about another 6 holes that we're waiting for assays at the moment, but we're continuing to drill that. So we think that this is going to grow, and it's already getting some pretty significant dimensions to it. This is just a cross-section with some of the latest drill results. It just shows the very flat topography, just a very thin layer of cover over the top of it. In some places it does come to surface, but mostly it just has a thin layer of post-mineral sediments over the top of it. It has this very simple geometry where we often have some of the highest grades and thicknesses close to surface. But this simple geometry, very predictable, is repeated all the way along the strike of this system. Looking at in a bit more detail at the gravity anomaly that we were targeting. So we recently got access to the western half of this target, and we were drilling within about a month of getting that access. So the indications are at the moment that the mineralisation, the tin, it's copper, tin and silver. It looks like the tin is increasing as we go to the west. Perhaps on an in situ basis, it's about 15 to 20% of the value, and it may be increasing as we go further west. But the indications are, as we continue our drilling to the further west in the direction of some old ancient mine workings, that the grades may actually increase again. Certainly some of the visuals we're seeing from the drill holes that we're waiting for assays that would indicate that as well. So yeah, this is going to grow. We can see the potential for this to grow about another 800 metres, giving us about 2 kilometres of strike. So it's a pretty attractive target at this point. The alteration model, it's also telling us we've got a very big system. It's also showing that the mineralisation is open, the alteration is open to the west. So further evidence that this thing's got more to give. Earlier this year, we put out the first metallurgy results, lock cycle test results. These simulate what you might get in a mining situation. The results were excellent, and excellent relative to the other mining operations in the district. It looked like we're going to get very high recoveries and good concentrate grades, no deleterious minerals, which is unusual in the Pyrite belt. And it's coarser grained as well, which means lower energy costs. So these are great results. We're still waiting for the tin metallurgy. We should have that, the first tin metallurgy results before the end of this year as well. But when you add everything up here, we're continuing to de-risk this project. It's got simple geometry, great metallurgy. The location is excellent, with lots of infrastructure around us. It's looking like we can really push the cut-off grades here and enable us to really take a lot of this mineralisation and add tonnes and value. So just stepping back a little bit, I think the exploration potential in our property is very strong, and I think we're going to make additional discoveries. In fact, I think we may have made another one at Pinata Honda. You can see this is the map on the left here is our Escacena project area and some of our targets, and this compares with the Neves Corvo mine camp on the right at the same scale. So these deposits often occur in clusters. So in other words, you find one, you'll probably find another one. So it just underlines the prospectivity here that we don't believe Laramana's on its own. And more often than not, when we're drilling some of these new targets, we're hitting alteration or mineralisation. But our first drilling on this Pinata Honda target in the north, and I'll show a bit more about that in a minute, would indicate we may have another discovery there as well. So a couple of weeks ago, we put out some drill results from the Pinata Honda target. It's copper and gold. It's a little bit unusual again for the Pyrite belt having that combination. So we're getting 15 to 20 metre intervals of probably about 1% combined copper and gold. With the latest drilling, which were 3 big step-out holes, we're talking 150, 200 metre steps. We've traced the mineralisation from surface now down dip to about 600 metres. It's completely open. Importantly, the first, hole number 5 was the first hole that tested the gravity anomaly. So that's hole 5 just here. And this is the gravity anomaly that we tested. And this is right at the eastern tip of a 2-kilometre gravity anomaly trend, which is all untested at this stage. So that hole was our widest copper interval to date. So yeah, this is really encouraging. 3 of the 5 holes on this cross-section have also hit intersections of gold in the hanging wall, so 5 metres plus of about a gram or more of gold. So this is a pretty exciting target. Really early days, but we think we're onto something pretty important here. We got access to a big farm earlier this year. We've been hitting that with all the exploration tools, detailed gravity, geochemistry, mapping, etc. This just serves to illustrate some of the additional exploration potential we're identifying, the new targets we're identifying. But what we're seeing with this new survey information is the potential that, well, it looks like the Laramana target is being extended further than we knew before. We've also enhanced some of the other targets that we previously identified. We've also been identifying some new targets, at least four new big gravity anomalies, all of which are untested at this stage. So I think the potential to make additional discoveries here is just being enhanced. So earlier this year, we set out with a number of targets. We keep hitting these things. We haven't been getting the same joy in the stock in the market as we would normally get. This is an indication of the tough times we're in. But we reported these great metallurgy results. We got access to the western extension, a big farm that covered the western extension of our Laramana Discovery. That's allowing us now to drill that off and eventually put out a resource. We put out some great infill and step-out drill hole results at Laramana, and we've been putting out additional drill results from some of the new targets, and I just mentioned Pinata Honda. We're still waiting for access to another very big high-priority target called Bravo. I expect we'll get that either this year or early next year. We've got more metallurgy results to come in from the tin network, and looking forward to next year, we'll hope to have our first resource out for the Laramana deposit. So just sort of in summary, I guess we've had a tough year, but I think we'll weather this, and I think we're positioned to be one of the better investment opportunities in the copper space going forward. We have near surface copper mineralisation, high grades close to surface. It's something that will be in mind. It's in a stable, mining-friendly location. Our share price currently is about half where it was when we did our last financing, which was at 60 cents. Since that last financing, which was about 2.5 years ago, we've probably quadrupled the area of mineralisation. It's continued to be de-risked. It's still growing, and we've made probably another discovery. So I think we represent an excellent investment opportunity at this time. So perhaps I'll leave it there, Joe. Thanks.